Hello everyone, good evening. This lecture is going to be the continuation of the previous lecture. In the previous lecture, we had learned some terminologies related to poetry. There are some more terminologies. Remember one thing, that this lecture and the coming lecture, you would only understand these two lectures when you have gone through the first lecture, because there will be references from the first lecture. The various terminologies that we have learned in the first lecture, I shall be repeating them. I'll be using them in various places. The first thing that we need to know today is internal rhyme. If you want to learn internal rhyme, you should be already knowing what a rhyme is, and that we had explained in the previous lecture. The rhyming words are found within the line. So when inside a line there are two rhyming or more than two rhyming words, we call them internal rhyming. Take the example here. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering. Now this is one line in the poem, but inside the line there are two words which are rhyming. These rhymes are called internal rhymes. I hope it is very clear. The next term is alliteration. You would come across this word alliteration a lot in English literature. Alliteration is basically the identical consonant sound. I hope you know what a consonant sound is. If you do not know a consonant sound, let me explain it. But I understand that you might already be knowing it because of your introduction to linguistics course. Anyhow, there are two kinds of sounds. One sound is called a vowel, the other one is called consonant. So all the sounds which are not vowels, they are consonant. So ba, pa, ta, da, all these pa, ba, ta, da, ka, la, ma, na, these sounds, all these sounds are consonant sounds. So when there are identical consonant sounds and they are frequently used closely placed in the poetry or in a poem, then we call them alliteration. Or words that are close to each other, words which are close to each other, which means that these consonant sounds, when they happen to be close in a poem, we call it alliteration. Take the example. For winter's rains and ruins are over, and all the season of snow and sins, the days dividing lover and lover, the light that loses, the night that wins. Now you would see in the first line there are ra sounds which are closely placed. For winter's rain and ruin. In the second one, you have sa sound of s, which are closely placed, and all the season of snows and sins. So these are sa sounds. In the third one, we have da sound and la, l sound, that are closely placed. So when this happens somewhere in a line, we call it alliteration. I hope it's clear now. Next, we have two more concepts or two more terminologies. One is called assonance, the other one is consonance. The repetition of identical vowel sounds in different words that are close to one another is called assonance. So in other words, it is the opposite of alliteration. In alliteration, we had consonant sounds which are placed closely together, similar consonant sounds, and in assonance we have similar or identical vowel sounds put closely together. Take this example, bird, thirst. In both these words, the vowels are similar. Or if there is, for example, there could be another vowel sound, for example, clay, may, decay. If these words are placed somewhere closely in a line, they would give you an assonance. Consonance is basically placing the words which have same consonants but different vowels, like pat and pit. There are pa sound and ta sounds in both of them, but the sound of vowel is different. One is a, the other one is e. So it is pat and pit, right? In the same way, tat and tit. So all these such words, when they happen somewhere, when they are used somewhere closely, we call it consonants. The next concept is on a some people call it onomatopoeia, but the actual pronunciation of this word I have placed in front of you in transcription. It is onomatopoeia. The stress here is on pa sound, p sound. So onomatopoeia is the word that we use. Onomatopoeia is basically the blend of consonant sounds and vowel sounds, but they are so designed that they copy or suggest the action or situation. I know this is difficult to understand, and you would be already wondering what I have just said, but let me explain it in clear words. Let me explain it in Urdu because you would not get it in English. जब भी कोई ऐसा लफ्ज़ इस्तेमाल करें, जब वो लफ्ज़ आप बोलते हैं तो उससे वो सिचुएशन या वो एक्शन जो आप कह रहे हैं उसका सेंस आपको आए, तो उस वर्ड को हम कहते हैं ओनोमैटोपोइया. जैसे जब हम कहते हैं बैंग, बैंग इज़ अ वर्ड जो आपको धमाके की भी जो है सेंस दे रहा है. जिस तरह क्लिक एक ऐसा वर्ड है कि जब आप क्लिक कहते हैं तो वो आपको क्लिक की आवाज़ भी देता है. तो इस तरह ये जो वर्ड्स हैं इनको हम ओनोमैटोपोइया कहते हैं. Onomatopoeia is basically very seldom used, but when it is used, it gives you a good sense in poetry. A few examples I have here. Let me give you those examples. Buzz. Now buzz is the word that is a verb also, and it is the very sound that is made by the insects or by flies. So when we say buzz, it is a sense of a sense that is in our mind, that there is this sound also, buzz. Same is the case with crackle. Same is the sense in hum. When a bird hums, it is basically humming, and this gives that sound. Like the word chirping. Chirping is the sound or the word that is used for the sound or the voice of birds. So such words, when they are used, when they suggest either the situation or action, they are basically giving you the idea of onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is a very interesting way of using words, but if you could just master it. I hope it's clear now. Next we have blank verse. What is a blank verse? A blank verse is basically unrhymed iambic pentameter. If you have learned the first lecture, you would easily understand what I'm saying. An iambic pentameter is a line which has 5 feet in it, and it is iambic. Iambic is when the first syllable is unstressed and the second one is stressed. Unrhymed is when it does not go in rhyme with the next line. ऐसी दो लाइंस या ऐसी तमाम लाइंस जो आपस में राइमिंग ना करती हों, जिनमें काफिये ना हों, लेकिन हो iambic pentameter में, तो उनको हम कहते हैं blank verse. Another verse is also used in English poetry, and it is free verse. We shall see what that is. Some people confuse blank verse with free verse, so please try to understand they are two different concepts. They are not identical. One is blank, the other one is free. Now, the example of blank verse you would find with Shakespeare, with Milton, when we study Shakespeare in the coming semesters, and Milton's Paradise Lost, especially in the coming semester, we shall see how they have been using iambic pentameter in an unrhymed way, and that's why we call it blank verse. Then comes free verse. A free verse is basically a verse or a line which does not follow any kind of pattern or does not follow any rules of rhyming scheme or rhymes, but still it is poetic. You would see that most of the dramas are in the dialogues of the dramas are mostly in free verse. The rhythm is based on the stress resulting from the meaning of the line and its natural and punctuated pauses, which means that it does not follow any rhyming scheme, it does not follow any kind of meter, but it does not have pentameter or tetrameter line scheme, but it is still in poetic language and we call it poetry. मैं अक्सर कहता होता हूँ कि हमारे पास जो आज़ाद नज़में हैं उर्दू में वो फ्री वर्स में होती हैं, ठीक है, क्योंकि वो सारी एक जैसी लाइंस नहीं होती, ना ही लंबाई में ना ही काफ़िए में. कभी काफ़िए मिलते भी हैं लेकिन लंबाई में और उनका मैट्रिकल सिस्टम जो होता है वो एक जैसा नहीं होता. That's why we call it आज़ाद नज़म. Well, these blank verses and free verses are very common in English literature. We shall learn them in the coming semester, but as for now you should be understanding what they are. This will be all for today, and in the next lecture then we shall see what stanza is and what kind of stanzas we have in English poetry. Thank you very much for your patience.